Hi, I thought I'd read a short story from my latest novel called The Cyber Crusaders, which is a sequel to Jihad at Java Jills, which was a sequel to Trigger Jihad. This is a science fiction, and the story I'm about to read to you from the novel is what I wrote today, and it's called "O Muslim, Don't Recite the Shahadah." Okay, this is how it goes. Before Mr. Ramos started making his own CDs, he came upon a video on the DVD. By the way, this is what I wrote today. Yeah. Okay. He came upon a video on the DVD of Dragon Driver 100 that inspired him to make a video of his own, which he seriously thought of burning to one of the data discs he had planned to present at mega churches. In the video of Dragon Driver 100, DD100, DD100, that's Dragon Driver 100, let it be known that the worst of sins in Islam was partnering with Allah, or putting a partner with Allah. That such a sin was unforgivable, and thus was probably the number one reason why Muhammad taught that out of 73 sects of Islam, only one sect would escape the fire, hell. DD100 let it be known in the video that not only did Muhammad say only one sect of Islam would escape the fire, but out of 73 sects of Islam, the chances of a Muslim escaping the fire would be like finding a white hair on the side of a black ox. Thus, if true, not only are all non-Muslims going to the fire, but most Muslims as well. On video, DD100, Dragon Driver 100, then brought up the possibility as to why the chances of a Muslim escaping the fire, hell, were as rare as as few, as a white hair being found on the side of a black ox. That it could be due to the fact that most Muslims recited the Shahadah, which is reciting, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is its messenger. I have to say it's, because if I say his, that makes me a Muslim automatically, and then I'd be killed for pointing out problems in Islam, because they'd say, oh, you're out of Islam, see? So I have to change it a little bit there. Okay. All right. In such a recitation, so I say, I bear witness that there's no God but Allah, and Allah is its messenger. I can't say his, or I'd become a Muslim. So anyway, all right. In such a recitation, oh, by the way, out of respect for Allah, I call Allah them and they and their, because Allah shows respect to itself by calling itself we and our and us. Just let you know that. It uses the royal plural or to show respect to itself, even though shirk is the worst of sins. Okay, I'll continue here. All right. In such a recitation, one performs the unforgivable sin, or of a partnering Allah, in this case partnering Muhammad with Allah. DD100 went on and said to the camera, O Muslim, O slave of Allah, all Muslims, including Sunni Muslims, are now telling me that even Sahih, sound, authentic hadith, such as Bukhari Muslim hadiths, are weak and fabricated, especially being that they have Muhammad teaching such stupid things as meteors burning up the Earth's atmosphere or little stars chase away the Shaitan, from spying on Allah. These Sahih hadiths have Muhammad teaching that we as embryos go through a 40-day blood clot stage. Or in Sunan Abu Dawud, have Muhammad teaching that the sun not only sets in a muddy spring, but then asks and seeks permission of Allah to rise again. Yeah, as yeah. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, so, yeah. Has teaching teaching Muhammad that the sun has Muhammad teaching the sun not only sets on the muddy spring, but then has it asking or seeking permission to rise again. A proof that the hadith is a lie, even though it's sahih. Proof that the hadith, even sahih, sound hadith, can't be trusted. DD 100 went on and said, guess what, O slave of Allah? There is no mention in the Quran to perform the Shahadah, to partner Muhammad with Allah in such a recitation. If Islam is true, could this be why Muhammad says that the chances of a Muslim escaping the fire are like finding a white hair on the side of a black ox? DD 100 then said on video, think about it, O slave of Allah. Think about it, O Muslim, O slave of Allah. If Islam is true and Muhammad is right about your chances of escaping the fire are as great as finding a white hair on the side of a black ox, could the reason be because you followed the hadith, a collection of books that has Muhammad not only marrying a 6-year-old, but parking her when she was 9 and he was 54? Has Muhammad coming up with the first part of Quran 424 that allows Muslims to have sex, rape actually, since there's no word mention of consent, of married women, captured married women in the presence of their husbands? Well, that's according to Sunnah Abu Dawud 2:20-55, one word version of it. Or Muslim 8:34-32. Is Sahih, sound, authentic hadith? By the way, it's Sahih, sound, authentic hadith that has Muhammad saying that if you eat 7 ajwa dates in the morning, you'll be protected all day from both magic and poison. It's Sahih, sound hadith that has Muhammad telling you to wash a sleeping Satan out of your nose 3 times in the morning, even though Satan doesn't interfere with your sense of breathing, with your sense of smell, or your breathing. Oh, it doesn't interfere with your breathing or sense of smell. It's the Sahih, sound, authentic hadith that says Satan farts every time he hears the call to prayer, which seems to be a lie, since the call to prayer is heard every hour on the hour somewhere on the earth, meaning that we should smell the farts of Satan every hour on the hour, especially when we're about to go to sleep in the night. And, O Muslim, this comes from the same hadith. Sayings like this come from the same hadith that has you partnering Muhammad with Allah in the recitation of the Shahadah. Can you now see why, if Islam is true, can you now see why your chances of escaping the fire is about as likely as being a white hair on the side of a black ox? It's probably because so many Muslims follow that same stupid hadith that has you partnering Muhammad with Allah. It's the partnering Allah in the Shahadah. In the Quran, you don't have to be on a prayer rug 5 times a day. As a matter of fact, that comes from the hadith as well. And it's stupid hadith that has Muhammad saying contemplation for 1 hour is better than 6 years of worship. And has Muhammad saying 1 hour of seeking knowledge is better than praying for 70 years. Isn't that stupid? Talk about a big, hard, swift kick in the upraised Sunni patootie in prostration. And it would have to be a Sunni patootie in prostration, since Sunnis are called Sunni Muslims because they follow the Sunnah, which is following the Hadith. Thus, O Muslim, O slave of Allah, we now know just how many Muslims are to escape the fire, and that it's just one sect of Islam out of 73 sects that are going to escape the fire. And it's not going to be the Sunni sect. Instead, it's going to be a sect so few in number, that has so few Muslims in number, that the amount of white hairs on the side of a black ox are the ones who escape the fire. Do you know how many white hairs are on the side of a black ox? Believe me, it's not many. So, if Islam is true, you have to ask yourself, why so few Muslims will escape the fire? I'm thinking that it's because so many Muslims partnered Muhammad with Allah when reciting the Shahadah, a recitation that comes not from the Quran, that says the unpardonable, unforgivable sin is partnering or putting a partner with Allah, but it comes from the Hadith that will have you believe mountains are placed down to keep down earthquakes, which according to Muhammad are caused by the earth being spread out in the back of a giant fish, according to Muhammad in El Tabari Tasfir. That sperm comes from between the ribs and backbone. That the sun sets in the muddy spring, where it then asks and seeks permission of Allah to rise again. That meteors burning up the Earth's atmosphere are literal stars chasing away the Satan from spying on Allah. It's the Hadith that has you partnering Muhammad with Allah, and with it, if you recite the Shahadah, which a Hadith will have you do, well, do you think you will be in that very few number of white hairs on the side of a black ox? Will you be in that sect of Islam that is only one, while the other the other sects of Islam go to hell, to the fire? Think, O slave of Allah. Think, O Muslim, what are your chances of escaping the fire if Islam is right about the sun setting in a muddy spring? What are your chances of escaping the fire if meteors burning the Earth's atmosphere are little stars chase away the shaitan to keep from spying on Allah? What are your chances of escaping the fire if the Quran is right about ants not using chemical odors to communicate like modern science teaches? But what if the Quran is right about ants able to speak like little humans, like the ants in a Pixar animation movie, and say a full human-like sentence that goes, according to the Quran, "O ants, get thee to thy dwelling places, so that..." "O ants, get thee to thy dwelling places, though that ye are not trampled by Solomon and his troops as they perceive not." What if the Quran and Islam are true, O Muslim? What then are your chances of escaping the fire? What are your chances of being that one sect of Islam out of 73 sects of Islam to escape the fire? What are your chances of being of the white hairs on the side of a black ox, the very few in number white hairs to escape the fire? What are your chances, O slave of Allah, when the Quran says partnering with Allah is unpardonable, unforgivable, yet the Hadith that all Muslims now seem to view as weak and fabricated, even if it's sahih, sound, authentic, have you partnering with Allah in the Shahadah? That has you partnering Muhammad with Allah. What, pray tell, are your chances of being a white hair on the side of a black ox to keep you in that one sect of Islam, out of 73 sects of Islam, that one sect of Islam, that one white hair on the side of a black ox to escape the fire? What are your chances, O slave of Allah? Anyway, that's the end of that story in short story in The Cyber Crusaders, my novel. Bye.